Welcome back. This is the Series of Opinions podcast, episode number 24, Women of the MCU. So I'm Moira.
I'm KJ.
And I'm Faith. And this week we are so lucky to have a wonderful guest. She's a graphic design extraordinaire, an incredibly talented illustrator and artist, and someone I'm super lucky to call a great friend, LILA.
Hello. Hi,
LILA. Tell the people a little bit about yourself and where they can find you on socials specifically.
Yeah, promote yourself.
Well, I mean, Faith, you kind of just summed it up. I am an illustrator, artist, and I'm also in the graphic design program that Faith is also attending right now. I can be found on Instagram. I just switched my name to Lil BAJ Studios. You can also find me there on TikTok as well. And I have a Redbubble under the name Lil BAJ. And yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, for sure. Check her out on all that stuff. I love her TikToks, especially. Super talented, so
yeah, we'll link your handles in the episode notes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but thanks for being on.
Yeah, we're so excited.
I'm very excited to be here.
That's fantastic. Do we have any recommendations to start off with? Anything?
This week, Big Brother Canada came back, and I'm so excited about it. They had to cut the season short last year because of COVID and everything, so they're finally back, and I'm really excited about it, and it's great. So highly recommend Big Brother Canada. And it's on 3 times a week, so I mean, like, fueling my addiction.
I have a question.
Okay.
So are they continuing the past season, or is it all new people? I don't really know how Big Brother works. I understand it's sort of like Survivor, I think, where you get kicked out. Is that correct?
Yeah, they've kind of got like more, it's a little bit more like there's one person who wins every week and then they put 2 people up and then they vote them out, and like there's a bunch of competitions and stuff, but it is kind of similar to Survivor. But I think since the people that they had on last year had like a year to like get to know each other, so like they're not really strangers anymore, they had new people this year.
Okay.
I would assume my theory is that they probably gave the people from last year probably like money or something, like to, I don't know.
Is there like a prize at the end? Yeah, so they probably just like split the prize or something.
Yeah.
How many people were left? Like a lot, or?
Well, like 3 people quit, and then they dropped out or whatever, and then they got to have 1 eviction. So. Okay. They were only in there for a few weeks. It was really
question.
crappy.
Aren't they stuck in there together? Wasn't their COVID risk like pretty minimal?
Right? Yeah, no, I know. They probably, I think it was so new that I think it was more about like, they were worried that people wouldn't want to be in there anymore. They'd want to be with their families because it was so new.
Didn't know anything. Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, they were like kind of quarantining with each other, so technically they were safe, but yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that question. Sorry to put you on the spot. But
no, it's all good. I love that show. It's so good.
I have not had a lot of time to actually watch things this week, but Moira infected me with her love of 911. I've been watching 911.
So good. Yay!
Which is, I'm watching a bunch of shows and not finishing any of them. That's just where we're at right now.
Right.
So just pile that onto like my last 3 weeks of recommendations. Haven't finished New Amsterdam. I'm watching it, and then I watch 4 episodes of 911, and then I watch 6 episodes of New Amsterdam, and that's just how life's going.
Right.
I love that. Yeah, no, I have no recommendations for this week other than Marvel. Just everything Marvel.
Fair.
Actually, one of them is also on my list, but I'm gonna refrain from mentioning it. I have a swap. I have 3 really quick.
Go for it.
I don't know if 2 of them are music related, so I don't know if you guys listen to Madison Beer or know who she is, but she just released her debut album last week, and it kind of slaps.
Is she famous for anything else?
I don't know. She's a very pretty individual, so she's got like a lot of followers on Instagram.
Okay, her name's just familiar.
Done like, a lot of modeling stuff. but her new album is super good, so 10 out of 10 would recommend that.
I love it.
Also, I don't know if you guys are fans of Phoebe Bridgers or know who she is, but I've been addicted to one of her older albums called Stranger in the Alps. It's good though. It's definitely kind of like an in your feels thing. So that one's really good. And then I was gonna say Masked Singer is coming back next week.
Ooh.
So good.
So
my
pumped
goodness.
for that. So when that comes on, I would 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that'll be back before this episode airs.
Oh yeah, it's true. Kind of dating
10 out of
ourselves,
10,
but that's all right.
watch it. It's so good.
It's so
Amazing.
Good, so good.
All good recommendations, I'm sure.
So today we are talking about everything to do with the women in the MCU and everything about it. Yeah.
Woo.
So
And what
Sure.
is the MCU for people like me that have very, very, very limited knowledge?
So the MCU is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or sometimes Marvel Comic Universe, depending on when it's used. We're talking about the Cinematic Universe today.
Mostly because we don't know that much about comics.
Yeah, I don't know that much about comics, so we just want to get into like some characters that we love that we want to talk about. And start talking about Black Widow, who is one of the first women in the MCU.
I have lots to say about Black Widow. That's cool.
Yeah.
So personally, Black Widow is my favorite character in the entire MCU. I think she was done so dirty.
Yeah.
Her movie has been delayed by COVID-19. Allegedly, it's going to be out sometime soon. But honestly, as excited as I am, it feels like a little bit like it's going to be like a Star Wars Rogue One situation where like any characters that we end up liking are going to have to die before the end of the movie to fit into the existing timeline.
Fair, yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah, that's a good assumption.
Yeah, just because
Yeah.
it has to take place in the past, somewhere between, you know, Endgame, WandaVision, whatever era we're living in now, and
Yeah.
it has to take place previous to that because of what happened to Black Widow at the end of Endgame. So that sucks.
Exactly.
But I'm still really excited. This movie's coming much too late, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yes.
I really like her. She has no superpowers, which tends to be something I really enjoy. For example, some of my other favorite superheroes in general are Batman and Iron Man, because their powers are like intelligence, like technology, but also, like, to be honest, being just rich white men, they can afford to have training and
Yeah.
technology. Nah, doesn't have even like technology really. Like, she's just kind of a badass.
Yeah.
She's like this person. She has this whole persona, like she can't be trusted. She's by nature a spy. She's been raised that way, but she's also like the glue that holds the whole group together. She can calm the Hulk down better than anyone else. She keeps the Avengers going during the blip. She is the main peacemaker throughout Captain America Civil War. We've seen her be like protective of innocence, like risk her own life. In Winter
Mhm.
Soldier, we hear a story about how she took a bullet for someone she was supposed to be protecting. There's this really popular fan theory somewhere that, sorry, I couldn't find who I was supposed to credit with this. But there's a scene in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, where she's being shot at, and she could have been like
Oh.
avoiding the bullets, and she runs a straight on path, and it makes her a much easier target. But it protects the bystanders that are in this crowded street that like aren't getting shot because she's making herself a easier target.
I love it.
Yep.
Part of Black Widow is that she's like just this master manipulator too. She can put on this like damsel in distress innocent girl act and then turn it around. Really plays on the fact that all the bad guys in comic books and superheroes monologue their entire plans only for her to never be in any like real danger because she's like fully capable of escaping whenever she wants. She's
Yeah.
one of the oldest characters in the MCU. She was introduced in Iron Man 2. But for me, her like real introduction is in the Avengers 2 years later. It's one of my favorite scenes, which I think Faith watched.
Yes. I watched all of the required watching, so
It just depicts that perfectly, and like in a lot of ways, I think the Black Widow character like uses the over-sexualized, manipulative like woman stereotypes to create like a strong female character who we find out
Yeah.
is a character with like really complex and deep emotions.
I respect that so much, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I just like monologued super hard.
yeah, I thought she was super cool. I really liked her. I mean, I struggled so much with this because these gals put together a great list of stuff for me to watch, and these women are just awesome, just in general. I really
so many
enjoyed
good ones.
getting like a history of all these awesome women.
Yeah.
Lila, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm on the same page as KJ. Honestly, like I really love Nat. I think she's great. there was, again, I'm waiting for the movie to come out because she was one of those characters that I really wanted more backstory on.
Yeah, we just don't really know.
Yeah, she's a very big mystery, and I think when that movie comes out, it's going to help a lot. But honestly, you nailed it on the head. Like, honestly, like, she's just a total badass, and like everything that I want to be in life. Like, she's just such a strong character in, like, even without the background, like the character development. She's just, you see how like strong of a person she is and how independent she is, and it's just so good. And Scarlett Johansson plays her perfectly.
Yeah,
like,
she's so good.
I couldn't even think of anybody else to play Natasha Romanoff. Like, she's just perfect.
Same. I can't think of another human being on this planet who, honestly, if other people have other casting choices that they think that they could have made for Black Widow, honestly hit me up because I'd be interested. I'm willing to be wrong on this one, but like, no, I totally agree. She plays her so well.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, no, I love, like, seeing Natasha. She's one of my favorite characters ever. She's the reason that I fell in love with superheroes, for sure. So I was so excited, and I cannot wait to, like, watch Black Widow on a big screen. I refuse to watch it if it comes out anywhere else until I can watch it on, like, the big screen, because I feel that deserves it.
Endgame was the first movie I rewatched where I actually missed going to the movies, because I remember like being in the movie theater for it. Like, they just hit differently.
They need to be on the big screen the first time you watch it. It
brought me right back there to watch it again. I was back in that movie theater, and like, yeah, that's the experience I want with Black Widow too. If it comes out on Disney earlier, I think I'm gonna have to wait, honestly.
Yeah, like, I'm waiting until I can watch it in my backyard with the big screen.
That too. Yeah. We have to wait for warm weather here.
Yeah. No, but I think Black Widow would have been better to come out when, like, Hunger Games and Divergent and all these other amazing movies were coming out. I think that would have been the perfect time because she was already an established character.
We've waited so long for this.
We waited too long. And I was so glad to, like, see her, like, running the Avengers and things and watch her character development over, like, all of these other movies that she was in without being the main character.
But also, like...
yeah. Like, we need our own movie.
Yeah.
I have, like, two things that, like, I just don't like as much. And it's, like, in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, when she's revealed that she's, like, the old lady who beat people up, I was so disappointed. I was ready for an old lady to beat the crap out of some old men. That would have been great.
Yeah, you didn't want to take that shield off.
No, I was good with it just being the old lady, because she, like, that lady was supposed to be running one of the biggest spy organizations. She could have done it herself. But
yeah, if you don't know what Moira's talking about here, Nat was undercover and she was disguised as like a SHIELD board member, essentially.
Yeah.
And then she took her disguise off to fight the fight, and like Moira wanted her to just stay in character.
No, it was fine. And then I will never forgive them for her death. Yeah. I'm so upset.
Yeah,
Clint Barton should have died. And
I mean, Clint had children. I'm sorry. I also agree that neither of them should have been put in that position. I think that it was so dumb to send the two of them there.
Literally.
Send those two to New York, honestly. I don't know why those two went to space in the first place.
Accurate.
Like, I can't think of two people who were, like, less good to be on this particular mission, but also, like, I'm just saying, Clint had children, and his wife wife is Judy from Dead to Me. I don't know if there was any clips of her in Faith's Required Watching.
Yes, there was.
And she did not deserve to come back to life and find out her husband had died either. I'm just saying.
Her husband became a mass murderer.
I mean, yes, she did come
superhero
back.
Origin story. He was training his daughter how to be an archer when they blitzed. So, like, just make her a superhero.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay.
Superhero origin story.
I'm willing to be wrong.
Okay. We should move on and talk about Miss Wanda Maximoff.
Who had a big week. WandaVision just ended this morning at the time of recording.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk too much about actual WandaVision content just because it's really new. Yeah. But she's having a big week.
Yeah, it's been a time.
She's had a big month.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been rough for us all. I'll let someone else talk. I don't need to monologue every time.
I can go.
Yeah, Lila, talk to us.
I do have a few notes. Again, with Elizabeth Olsen, I really like to credit the actors who actually play the roles of these superheroes, because sometimes it's really hard. I don't know if you guys have ever seen some of the behind the scenes of how Wanda looks, like how Elizabeth looks when she's acting as Wanda and using her powers. It looks so creepy. Like, for her to just be doing the hand signals. Faith, I would 10 out of 10 look this up on YouTube when you're done.
Okay.
It is, like, for reference, it is absolutely terrifying, but it's also kind of funny.
Look up any superhero. The men are so funny. There's scenes in the Captain America Civil War where it's literally just Scarlett Johansson on set because everyone else needs fucking green screen.
Right.
Everybody else is being green screened and it's just Scarlett Johansson running by herself.
Oh man, the behind the scenes makings of these movies are just peak. I love them so much.
It must be so hard. It's a whole nother level of acting.
Absolutely.
Oh, totally. But going back to Wanda, she's so OP. She is overpowered, and she doesn't even know it. Honestly, I think is the best part. She, like, as you see her develop through these movies since she was introduced in Age of Ultron, it is actually, like, amazing how strong she has gotten over that time. With, again, like, we have, like, a little bit of backstory on her and everything, and with WandaVision, we learn a lot more. Not gonna get into that, but I'm gonna start sobbing. But she develops her powers so quick, and she doesn't even realize it. And I think that's really cool to see her develop so quickly. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but you know what?
That's just what amazing. We do here.
You're good.
I think after, like, over the course of watching WandaVision, I can fully say that I think Wanda might be my favorite female hero.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. She is so my favorite.
Yeah. Just, I want to hold her. She is total baby. Like, she just deserves everything. Even after watching before watching WandaVision, she just deserved the world. She lost so much, and I just, she needs a hug, bro.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly. Moira, do you have stuff to add? I have a lot of stuff to say, I'm just trying
quite a bit.
Maybe we should let Faith talk. Does Faith have any thoughts?
I'm, like, not much more than a spectator on this episode. I'll jump in where I can, but I thought that her powers were super cool. I love all those parts
Wanda has,
of what I watched.
I think unquestionably one of the most, like, strongest powers in the whole, if not the strongest powers in the MCU, like, as a whole. Out of all the superheroes, she is, like, the most powerful.
She is the most
Yeah, for 100%. Sure. I thought that her powers were awesome, and she just seemed like a really cool character overall. Sorry, I'm really useless.
That's so fine.
That's so
We're
great.
just excited that we got to take you on this journey.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna say it. I do believe that Wanda is the strongest Avenger.
It's her or Captain Marvel. I think, Wanda's really lean. After watching WandaVision, I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah. I'm like Wanda, then Captain Marvel, and then I don't really care after that.
The order's
like, whatever.
After that.
The order's debatable, but, like, those are the top two. And yeah, I absolutely love Wanda. She's my favorite character. She has been since Age of Ultron. And Age of Ultron is actually one of my favorite movies, despite the fact that it's awful, just because it introduces Wanda. Yeah, but I absolutely love her. I love her powers, and I love, like, how much she's grown and getting to see that. And also, like, she's supposed to be fairly young, and I think they aged her for the movies a little bit, but, like, technically she's supposed to be, like, 16 in the first movie.
That she's in, yeah.
Yeah.
Moira and I did some math on how old that would make her now, and I think we came up with, like, 20 or so. 20, is that correct?
About, yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't even think to do the math.
Moira and I spent, like, half an hour on the phone together being like, okay, so then this happened this day, and, like, this happened in this part of the timeline, and then there was the blip, so she didn't age, and then...
Yeah.
It was a whole mess.
Yeah. Her wiki thing says she was born in 1989, but
we think that's incorrect.
We think it's incorrect because in the movie, whatever one I just watched, or Civil War, Clint says to her, well, you could go back to high school.
Yeah, so we think she's
And I'm
supposed to be
like-
younger.
Yeah, she's supposed to be, yeah.
And in the comics, she's supposed to be like 16. So
She's about 16 in Age of Ultron. So,
Whoa.
like, she's dealt with all of this trauma, and she's, like, our age.
yeah,
So, like,
Poor
the
thing.
power, the capability of this woman to do anything at this point. I would just sit in a ball and just nothing. That was it.
yep.
But yeah, no, it was really good. And I love her character development. And I'm excited for her to be a big part of Phase 4.
Yeah, I'm very
Yes.
excited too. I'm really excited to see her in other properties going forward.
Yeah.
I have some things to say. This is not a criticism of Elizabeth Olsen.
Mhm.
It's not even really a criticism of what the MCU has done, but it kind of is.
Okay.
So since WandaVision's come out, there's been a lot of people talking about Wanda's like comic book origins.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really interesting. It's been kind of absent up till now, up till WandaVision. Like, we had, like, some, like, 2-minute backstory, I think, in Age of Ultron, or maybe one of the subsequent movies that Wanda was in. I forget. There was definitely, like, a 2-minute backstory where, like, this is where the twins came from.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's been some understandable criticism as a result, because Wanda's comic book origins, crossover with X-Men, which I admittedly know absolutely nothing about, make her the daughter of Magneto, but also raised by a Romani Jewish family. And Romani Jewish people, and I'm not saying those two groups are the same, were both targeted by the Nazis during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So it's really problematic that this character is Elizabeth Olsen is super white. So
Yeah.
this hasn't really been addressed. So that's pretty problematic that they've kind of just whitewashed Wanda and Pietro a little bit, which is,
Mhm.
you know, it happens. Like, I could get past it, but also their, like, origin into the MCU is that they've been radicalized by Hydra, which is an organization that was primarily formed within the actual Nazi party during the Second World War.
Yeah.
So to not only whitewash these characters, but actually, like, remove their character origins of these two groups that were specifically targeted by the Nazis and then affiliate them with a literal Nazi organization is, like, just a tiny bit of a problem for me.
Yeah. Oh.
It's
That's
not
a
a good
lot.
look. It's not a good look. I don't know why the MCU chose to do it that way. There might be a reason that I just don't know about. I'm admittedly new here.
Sorry.
Yeah, go
to be
ahead.
Fair. I didn't even know that was like her origin story in the comics, but in the MCU, she's like from a completely different country.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's more of like a Russian, like it's more of a like just based off the
Yeah,
accent.
Sokovia is supposed to be like the Ukraine or Slovakia, like one of those like ex-Soviet Union countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
They've just removed this aspect of her backstory entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That is interesting though. I did not realize that she was.
Yeah, I didn't
Magneto.
either until WandaVision came out and people were talking about it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a bit of an issue.
Interesting.
They've just chosen not to deal with it and just like give her a new backstory, which okay, fine, we're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's honestly, like nothing against her character though, and I do think Elizabeth Olsen has done amazingly.
Mhm.
They've had to age her up. She's depicted a little bit as this character with incredible potential, but like somewhat perpetually out of control, which I also have a little bit of a problem with. I think it's good for character development. Like I think we're gonna get somewhere good with her character.
Yeah.
Literally, I think she could have defeated Thanos, given a little bit more time.
Absolutely.
Or with the help of either Captain Marvel or Captain America. I firmly believe any two of those three combined could have got the job done using absolutely zero Infinity Stones. If you want to argue with me, at LifeSKJ on all the things, I'm ready. I'll fight y'all.
Yeah. That's very true.
I think Steve and Captain Marvel. I think Steve and Wanda. I think Captain Marvel and Wanda. I think any of those combinations could have got the job done.
I also think Steve acquired Mjolnir in Endgame, so I guess it's totally possible. But I think Thor and Wanda.
Oh yeah, Thor and one of
Thor.
those two I think also would have been
Thor,
fine.
Absolutely.
When you were talking about how Wanda might be like one of like if not the strongest character of the MCU, I was like, well, hold on a second. And you guys mentioned Thor, and I was like, hold on a second.
I'm just saying, we've never seen any of the female MCU characters even try to pick up Mjolnir, so...
Yeah.
But no, that's so true. But also, it is so blatantly obvious that Captain Marvel is like probably the strongest MCU character like right now.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think post WandaVision, Wanda's got her beat, but yes, I agree.
Yes,
We'll see what happens when Captain Marvel 2 comes out. We'll see
Yeah.
how we're doing.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but my point here was mostly that like Wanda is like really depicted as like not having any control, and like I
Mhm.
think that's maybe a bit problematic. To have, no one ever accuses, like, other heroes of being, like, too emotional, whereas Wanda's so broken. I mean, she has every right to be broken.
Yeah.
They have put her character through absolute hell. But, like, as we said, Clint lost his family and became a mass murderer, and he just got to be fine.
Yeah.
Everyone was cool with that. Whereas
Yeah.
Wanda literally harmed nobody in taking a town hostage. She, like, literally did not intend to harm anybody, and everybody left more or less unscathed. And, like, she's gonna get treated as a villain.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, she's a really special place in my heart. She suffered so much loss in her very short amount of time, honestly, relative to other characters.
Yeah.
I've cried like every week of WandaVision since week 3, so
That's a big mood.
yeah. But I'm hoping for a better future for her.
Okay, do we want to move on
Yeah,
to Captain
we should
Marvel
move on.
before we keep talking forever?
Yeah. Faith, I handpicked you some really good Captain Marvel clips.
Yes. Okay, I really liked Captain Marvel. She was one of my favorite ones out of all the ones that I got to, watch stuff about and research this week. I feel like her outfit, like, feels the most equal to me to her, male kind of counterparts.
Yes.
Like how they would have, like, focused on more like muscle and power and like strength rather than like femininity, which is, fine, but like stereotypical, obviously. So I really liked like the feel and look of her whole like vibe and her whole character. I loved Captain Marvel and all the videos and stuff that you guys had me watch. Loved
that clip where she said that she doesn't have to prove anything.
Yes.
Like, that lives rent free in my mind.
I know, right?
Yes. Yes, I love that.
I was like, Moira, hands down, this is the clip for Faith.
Yeah.
This one. Absolutely.
Just her face when he starts like monologuing is so great.
Accurate.
Honestly, it was so good. It felt so good.
But yeah, that was my contribution.
I was really excited to share that with you. So I was glad to know that it was well received.
Yes.
Honest, I used to be really resistant to superhero movies. I really did feel like they were for boys. And then my mom's a bit of a tomboy. I have a brother. My dad's not really into superhero movies, so it was like really them driving the superhero train in our household. And then like I liked one and then, a couple more. I have a lot of guys who are friends, so like we would go and like see movies and stuff together. Then Captain Marvel came out and it was just like love. Like I was already sort of into it, but like I fell down the rabbit hole. I left the movie theater and I spent the rest of that weekend watching every Marvel movie in release order. I'd seen most of them before, but like there was definitely some I hadn't seen, and like that's when I fell into the fan theories, the complexities of MCU, the Easter eggs, all of it. It was so the movie's honestly so fantastic.
I adore that.
Yeah, so good. There's no love interest in our movie, and that's A-okay. I think that's one of the best things about it. Like, there's not a love interest in sight. I have more things to say about like the controversy of the Captain Marvel movie, but like honestly, in my mind, it's a perfect film.
That is fair. Lila, do you have things to add?
I feel like I've already mentioned them. I said that she's like super powerful, like maybe like too powerful. I feel like if nobody should hold that about power, but I'm happy it's her of all people.
She sometimes does feel like a bit of a Mary Sue character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a lot sometimes, but you know what? If anybody's gonna wield it, I'm happy it's her though, because like she's unlike Thor and like how Thor was supposed to do it. She's the one who's jumping to different galaxies, helping other people. I think it's great that she's holding that power. And again, talking about like how not a lot of people liked it. To be fair with you, I've only seen Captain Marvel I think twice, and both times it's like it's not my favorite. Like it's a good movie, I genuinely enjoy it, but it's definitely not my favorite though.
That is fair.
For like no particular reason. It's just I feel like I might get bashed for this, but I feel like Doctor Strange was a better Marvel movie than Captain Marvel. I also prefer
hard but respectful disagree.
Yeah.
Captain Strange or Doctor Strange is not one of my favorite MCU films. It's lower on my list overall.
Fair.
Out of curiosity, like would that be your favorite? We're just getting to know you.
Oh, he's not my favorite.
Yeah, tell us your favorite.
this is a hard one because my friends and I did one of those little list things, one of those bracket lists, and well, the last time we did it was not that long ago, and we kind of goofed off. And apparently, my favorite superhero is Jimmy Woo at the moment.
Respect.
Accurate.
You know what? But
Jimmy
you know
and Darcy.
what?
I need Jimmy and Darcy and Louise from Ant-Man to be in every movie.
I just need them to have their own show. Honestly.
Yeah.
That
I would watch it. But I think, before, that was the second time we did the bracket. I did it earlier. I think it was not that long after we had watched Endgame, and I said Doctor Strange was my favorite, which I'm like, now that I'm like rewatching, I've rewatched some of them. For a long time it was Cap.
Yeah, that's fair.
I really like Doctor Strange, but honestly, I think Wanda's my favorite now. And
she's just so good.
She's so good. And you know what? I totally blame WandaVision, because now Vision is up there as well. And he kind of has no right to be, just based off the movies. It's like he's just kind of like there. But yeah, my favorite female is definitely Wanda at the moment, and my man Thor is my favorite male character.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yep.
That's very fair.
Sorry, whoa, I totally sidetracked with that one.
That's what we do here.
Yeah. Okay, so jumping back into this, I personally didn't have a problem with it. It's just not my favorite MCU film, but I really like how she really does not give a crap about like what anybody thinks. She's just kind of like, she's her own person. Again, kind of like Nat, like she's got that vibe where it's like, I don't give a, like, you know, she's really like independent on her own. She's super powerful and she stands her ground well. And I appreciate that in a character. She's a 10 out of 10
love
character.
that.
I also, and I don't care what anybody says, I love her haircut in Endgame.
Me too.
Rocket can go away, you know. I love that. And the way she handled that too, like you're getting dissed by a raccoon, she's like, look, there are bigger things to be dealing with. And I appreciate that.
Out of all the people in the room who can have an opinion on my haircut,
It's like, goddamn raccoon.
talking raccoons are down.
On the list. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point about Nat versus Carol. Like Nat almost like is like, this is what society expects to see, so that's what I'm gonna show them. I'm using it as a distraction, and then like really I'm running the show. Whereas Carol's just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna tear the whole thing down.
Yeah, which I love and support.
Amazing, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have been trying to convince myself to watch this movie, to like talk about it for like the whole week, and it was just, you have to be in the right mood to watch a superhero movie, right?
Yeah.
So that time was at 1:00 this morning. I watched it. Yeah. So I gotta say, I really like it. So I compiled the things of like what they included in this that makes it, according to people, too feminist, but also like I watched it, I'm like, honestly saying this is my life. And it's like women get like catcalled, they like are told to smile more, and like she can't pursue her career because she's a woman, or she has to control her emotions, or that she's constantly told to prove her worth. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's just life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But yeah, no, it was super great to see that on a screen, and watching her just be like, I don't care what you think about me. I don't have to prove anything.
I like it so
was
much,
great. Yeah. That was super great to see on screen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why like in my mind it's like such a good movie. It's like literally for those things. Like
Yeah, no. Constantly like women are told to like prove themselves, and like things people have no right to like ask about. Like even with like love of superheroes, guys will like find out I like superheroes and they'll start quizzing me like I'm taking a test.
Oh my god,
like,
same. Really?
I'm trying to buy a t-shirt, go away.
Me.
Like, stop.
Dating apps are the absolute worst for that.
Honestly. I know. I can't.
I
didn't realize it was a thing that like because I don't think I've ever, from my memory, I've never had to really deal with that. Like I've knew like a lot of guys in like high school, and like I would like talk to them sometimes, and like none of them really had a problem, I would say, with like me being like mildly obsessed with the MCU and like superheroes and stuff like that. They were just kind of like, okay, maybe she's crazy, but like, you know, she's like making some valid points.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But dang, are people still assholes about that?
Yeah.
Bleep it out.
No, we swear.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first time my parents heard me swear was listening to this podcast. So.
No. Like, literally, like, I'm a very, like, feminine presenting person, so I walked into Hot Topic in, like, skirts and heels, and they're like, who is this human? Why is she here? And I'm like, just let me enjoy my superhero.
Hot Topic's supposed to be a safe place. Don't ruin it.
Yeah.
No, it is literally still, like, the number of times I've had to defend Captain Marvel, like, as a movie and as a character to men, like...
Yeah, all the time.
Like, I'm not gonna be out here and be like, it's the best movie ever, it's, like, the best movie in the MCU, but, like, they're like, it sucked, and I'm like, okay, like, what sucked about it?
Yeah.
And then, it's just like, oh, you just don't like that women are on the screen. Okay.
Oh, yeah. And like, she presents the same way that Tony Stark does, who is your favorite. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Because if Tony Stark was a woman, she would be the most hated person in the MCU.
Literally.
Absolutely, 100%.
I just think I just find it funny how people are just like, oh, it's too feminine. I'm like, bro, like, it's
women exist.
Absolutely.
No.
Bro, like, ever since, like, comics were first being made, like, these artists were like, and these writers were like, we need, like, a female superhero. Like, realistically, when you think about it, if you had people with mutations walking around on Earth and for some reason all of them ended up being men, it just doesn't make any sense. It literally
does not make sense.
Genetically, there would be women who have these superpowers and are probably a lot more stronger than some men. Not all, but some of them. And I think those women are portrayed in comic books very well. I think anybody who has an issue with it is just got a stick up their ass, honestly. Like, get over it. Like literally, like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go cry to your mommy about it? Like, there's a girl on screen who's a lot more powerful than you? Like, bro, like, legit. Like, just enjoy it for what it is. It's got good special effects. I think the writing was really good for Captain Marvel. Like, ultimately, it comes down to opinion, and I don't like to argue with people on it because it's like, again, it's like very subjective, but I just have to like be like, well, that's your opinion and like I can't switch that, but like this is why I like it and I'm just gonna roll with it. I very much don't want to argue about it because people are gonna be like, well, and I'm like, I don't need to have that energy in my life. Like, get that negative attitude out of here. But you know, it's very. I understand what you mean though. It's very aggravating when you see people who be like, well, bashing it just because it's stuff that like women actually go through.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
So in summary, Lila doesn't have time to fight you, but I will.
Oh, I love it. Okay, we should move on before we run out of hours
sorry.
in the day.
Okay, keep going.
So from now on, we're gonna like try to group them a little bit because there's so many. Thank goodness.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about the women of Wakanda. So like Shuri, Okoye, Nakia, and a little bit about the Queen.
Yeah.
Whose name I've forgotten, but I absolutely adore.
Honestly, same.
We should just address her as Queen, honestly.
Yes. Queen.
Honestly, Captain Marvel might be criticized for being too feminist, but like the true feminist movie of the MCU is honestly Black Panther.
Black Panther, 100%.
It is honestly one of my favorite movies in the whole MCU.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good.
It's so fantastic. Yeah. So, like, I have, like, a little bit to say, but I do want to, like, address the fact that we're going to talk about how it's a great feminist movie, and none of us are people of color, so we don't know what it meant to Black people to experience that on screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So...
We know it meant a lot to a lot of people, and we're so happy for them, but we're not going to speak on how it meant for them.
Exactly. But it was a great movie, and I adored it.
Yes.
In my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
Should I just start saying words?
If you want, sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Honest, just to start with Shuri, refer to episode 21. Moira did such a great job talking about Shuri. And she was so excited to do it, which I think is the most important thing, was the joy that this movie has brought us. I think that Shuri's honestly like such a great encapsulation of teenagers. I think the MCU's really gotten good with the teenagers of late. The Shuris, the Peters and Neds and MJs, like,
yep.
I just think, I think the MCU is casting like even though they're still casting like 20-some-year-olds as teenagers, they're casting 20-some-year-olds that feel like teenagers. And they've gotten really good at writing teenagers. Shuri just feels so young and fun, and like she's just like this young Black woman, and she's like in charge of the technological development of this like entire country. And it's already a super technologically advanced country. It's just so wonderful. As an added bonus, she's just really funny as well. Like she's got this like really bright personality, and she's like her interactions with with Bruce in Infinity War were so good. She's like, well, why didn't you do it this way? And he's just like, because the two previously smartest people in this movie franchise didn't think to do it. Like literally just didn't cross our minds.
I love it.
Yeah, I love her so much. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I love seeing her as like this extremely intelligent teenager who like does not apologize for being smarter. She's just like, I am here. I'm smarter than you. Just let me do it. And I love it so much. And she's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to miss Chadwick Boseman so dearly. I'm going to miss their on-screen relationship as well. But I really am so prepared to see her ascend from sidekick to hero and take his place. I really hope that's what the path that the MCU takes. Black Panther 2 is going to be a female superhero movie. That's my opinion.
I think she's like, again, you guys were just mentioning it before, like she's super smart. She also holds her ground really well, like
honestly,
scenes in like even in Infinity War when she has to defend Vision, like has no hesitation, just picks up that blaster and just starts shooting away at
Endgame. She's one of the first people through the portals. Like she's there.
She's totally ready, bro. Like she's super smart, and I think a lot of people like her too, like especially kids our ages, because like we're all kind of like in that headspace, but also like we're developing with like the trends and like the jokes, and she's totally like laying down the memes and everything, and we're all like, yeah, like we all just relate to her so well. And I feel like even kids like younger than us too, like are just feel that connection even more, I think. But it's really cool seeing that dynamic that she has with her brother. And again, I'm gonna miss Chadwick so much. He was like, I think one of my favorite actors of all time. But their on-screen relationship, yes, he was, and their on-screen relationship was just phenomenal. And
they nailed siblings so well. Honestly, like they really brought me all the feels.
And I hope she ends up being Black Panther. I really hope she does in the second one. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I hope it's that.
Yeah. If we say it enough times on this podcast,
maybe it'll happen. Yeah.
We're gonna manifest it.
I loved Okoye.
Let's talk about her.
Yeah. Oh my god. I love her so much. She's the general. She's like in charge, and she still is funny and has a personality outside of just being this character, and she's a side character technically, so she could just be a two-dimensional character, but she has a fully formed identity, and I appreciate it
I love her
much.
so much. Literal perfection.
Absolutely.
So she's the head of the Dora. I think it's Milaje. I looked up if that was how I was supposed to say it, and I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to get, I hope I said that right, t-shirts. Honestly, they're an all-female group of warriors that protect Wakanda. They're the head of Wakanda's army. So there's other branches of their like army and intelligence, but like the Dora Milaje are totally in charge, and they're all women. Okoye is their leader. Honestly, she's one of like the fiercest protectors of Wakanda's monarchy. She's purely a wonderful character. She's put in such a difficult position in Black Panther, like when the king is like honestly legally overthrown. That was that was not like a total like illegal coup or anything. That was like totally like
it was totally legal. And like Eric Stevens is made the new king of Wakanda. Like she's bound to serve the throne, as she says, regardless of who sits on it, and she does. But once she realizes that T'Challa's still alive, and like that's kind of a loophole because the challenge isn't over, he's also still the king. She just totally leads this like rebellion. And they follow her because she's a respected leader, and she's willing to do whatever it is her country requires. She was gonna kill her own husband if she had to. Like, oh, such a good character. As far as we can tell, honestly, the entire royal family was taken on the blimp. Yeah. Which means that, in my opinion, Okoye was running the country in a pretty new world. Like, Wakanda was pretty newly introduced to the world. The world had just drastically changed at the end of Infinity War. Like, that would be a hard 5 years to be in charge, and it seemed like she did such a good job. Mm-hmm.
She was a real ambassador to the Avengers on behalf of her country. Like, honestly, just perfection. I love her so much.
Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't even think about the fact that she might have been in charge. Like, I just that
we
thing
know
never
it. We know at
came across
least
my mind.
T'Challa and Shuri both got blipped. So
Yeah.
unless their
Yeah.
mom didn't get blipped, she was in charge.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's
Yeah.
total queen though. Like
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
so badass. I love her so much. I think out of that whole entire movie, I see this becomes where it becomes a very big, because I love Chadwick and I also love her character so much. Like I love
Yeah.
T'Challa and I love Okoye. Like I love all of them equally. They're so good.
I know.
It's so hard to pick, but she's so devoted to her country and she's so devoted to what she believes in, and I think she's just a strong symbol for fend for what you think is right kind of thing. She's a strong
Yeah.
symbol for that.
I think now is when I want to talk about the Infinity War scene
Ooh.
with
Yes.
Wanda and
Yes.
Black Widow, and now that we've talked about all three of them, I think
Yeah.
this is where I want to talk about it now.
Oh, I adore that.
It's one of the best scenes, honestly.
Do you want to start? Just
Yeah.
Take it away.
I think I'll just describe the scene. I don't have a lot to say about it except for the fact that I love it. So the scene that we're referencing is Infinity War. So they're being overrun, and Nat and Okoye are like about to get like murdered. They are in harm's way, and Wanda comes down where she was supposed to be protecting Vision. She leaves Vision, who she loves and who might die if she leaves. She
Yeah.
leaves him to save Nat and Okoye, and she like throws the spaceship thingamabob. Sorry, I'm doing a bad job at explaining this. And then Okoye just looks up and she goes,
Why was she up there all this time?
so
Accurate.
good. And it's so good. And then the bad guy takes Wanda down. It's like, you're gonna die alone. And then all of a sudden Nat and Okoye are there and they're like, she's not alone. And then they have a good fight. And
What a
it's
good
so
scene.
good. Yeah.
It was a really good scene.
Thoroughly enjoyed.
I hope you enjoyed that
Oh yes, that
reenactment.
was on the watch list.
Yes.
Yeah, it was in the watch list because
Yes.
it was amazing.
And it was also part of like many of the other videos, like lower
Yeah.
down in the watch list. So I saw it many times, and I enjoyed it each time. I loved it.
Moira and I were like watching the scenes that we were picking together, and
Yeah.
and we were like, "Yep, we're not getting tired of this scene yet."
Yeah.
Seen it 4 times, don't care. It's fine.
Yep,
I
amazing.
love that. And like the other like main one that we said we would talk about is Nakia, whom I adore, especially since she is introduced as basically the love interest, except again, she has a whole personality.
She's a whole
With-
other storyline.
Like, there's another storyline that's not involved with that, and she like saves them and helps like the royal family, and I absolutely adore her.
Yeah, I think Nakia is one of the most interesting like love interest women. She's not like
Yes.
not to bash any love interests. We love all the women who have been introduced in MCU, like regardless of how big or small of a role they play. But like Nakia doesn't have any like Jane Foster or damsel in distress type moments.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, no shade to Jane. We love Jane. But like, she's just not a super love interest. She's got this like wonderful like morality and like her own like work that she's interested in doing. She's like, I care deeply about you, and like this like I'm declining to take this like mostly ceremonial title, not because
Yeah.
it's not a comment on my feelings for you. It's just that I have this passion and this like thing that I need to follow through on, and you have this other thing that you are in charge. You have the whole country that you're in charge of, plus like the world needs saving all the goddamn time. And like I think that's just so interesting. I think it's a really good take on a like love interest type character for them to like be like, I love you and I care deeply about you, but also like if I am with you, it's gonna interrupt my own stuff I have going on.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I would like to pose
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
question, actually, just really quickly. If any, well, it's not really a question, it's also kind of a statement. If anybody else would hold the mantle of Black Panther, I would want it to be her.
Me too.
I can respect that, yeah.
Yeah.
If it's not Shuri, I want it to be her. Because she
Agreed. Fully agreed.
is fully capable of holding it and just running that country. Because even though she did love she loves T'Challa, like she was a spy. Like she was like literally one of the first scenes in that movie was like her in, I forget where they were, but she was undercover. Like I think she could totally pull off being Black Panther and like actually holding out
and I think that she shaped so much of like his way of like thinking about how the Black Panther should be.
Yeah.
And like how he should like think about Wakanda in relation to the world. I think she shaped so much of that she'd be a really natural predecessor as well.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with that as well if Shuri's too busy. If Shuri needs to do the technology stuff and that's taking up too much of her time, or she's like the queen now of like Wakanda or something, like whatever's happening with her and she's like too busy to be Black Panther, like it should be Nakia.
Yeah. Absolutely. I 100% support.
Yeah, being honestly, a superhero is a time commitment too. Like
true. It's a lot. One of my favorite things about this movie is it's a movie about women not having to like prove themselves to be equal. They just are equal. They are respected and like treated as equals, and we get to see them in like every single aspect of society.
Yeah, Shuri kind of challenged her brother at the challenging and become queen if she wanted to. She she didn't. She chose not to. But like, I mean, I guess Nakia also could have, but
yeah,
it was really cool to see like that they're kind of already empowered, like in this whole universe that they're in. They're already empowered. They're already like everyone's respected. They all work together and they all respect each other. It was really cool.
Yeah,
like their whole dynamic, the whole community of it all.
Yeah, Faith, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of context here on Wakanda.
Sure.
2-minute history lecture on Wakanda. So Wakanda is this country in Africa, and it is built on this like really rich deposit of vibranium, which has allowed them to become super technologically advanced. So they were able to just kind of like not be colonized. They never got colonized like all the other countries. So they never like were affected really by our patriarchy of slavery. They've kind of been isolated from the rest of the world. So they've built this like total like egalitarian society apart from the rest of the world.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, that is really
the whole
cool.
world thought that they were this like really small like country where there was like basically nothing. It was like some farms and some people and some mountains, and like then like joke was on them. They're like the richest country in the world.
Yeah. Amazing.
They're very rich in culture. If it's any Marvel movie that I think you could watch like without referencing anything else, 10 out of 10 would be Black Panther. I think I'm gonna go and rewatch it, and it might, because I'm just analyzing it as you guys were talking. I'm just like, you know what? This, I think, might be the best recorded MCU film.
Yeah.
One of them.
We agree.
Absolutely.
The whole sequencing of events, the way that the characters are portrayed, the writing, absolutely godsend.
It's so good.
It also involves my favorite, like, super, like, villain. I think he's the best portrayed villain, so.
Yeah. Killmonger was a very good villain. I enjoyed Michael B. Jordan's performance as that character as well. But yeah, Faith, I would recommend every MCU film, but especially Black Panther.
Black Panther, might be it.
Perfect. It is perfect. I'm gonna have to rewatch it. Might sob a little bit, but you know what?
That's you guys are gonna have to compile a list of like what order I should watch.
So now when you go into Disney Plus, they have them separated into release order and chronological storyline order.
Oh my gosh.
They have them in both of the accepted orders.
They were ready.
Yeah.
They were ready.
Disney Plus sorted them for you.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So now I have zero excuse.
So now we're going to talk about, like, the women from Guardians of the Galaxy. So, like, Gamora, Mantis, and Nebula.
I kind of want to go first because I have a hot take, and it's not necessarily a good take. It's going to bring us a lot of controversy. So apologies to all of my co-hosts and our guests and everything.
Go for it.
Don't have strong feelings about any of these women. I think that they're cool. I hate everything that Gamora and Nebula do in this second Guardians Volume 2.
That's fair.
They're just so much fighting. And it's pointless fighting. Gamora, I think, is a really interesting character, but, like, I don't think she's any more interesting than, like, a Nat or anything like that. I don't actually love that she's, like, kind of become a love interest character.
True.
I think she was more interesting before she was. But Nebula is a good character, I guess. I'm interested in how I liked her in Endgame and Infinity War, but I didn't have strong feelings on her before that, and I just don't have strong feelings about Mantis, so someone else can talk, because I just don't have feelings. Actually, all my feelings are in use.
Does someone want to, like, brief me on the whole beef between Gamora and Nebula?
Yes, I'm happy to do that.
Yes.
So they're both adopted by Thanos, who's like the main villain in the phase in the MCU universe. Yeah, definitely in phase 3 and 4 of the MCU, if not the MCU as a whole.
Yeah.
So Thanos' whole thing is he wants to collect the Infinity Stones and snap half of all life out of existence because he thinks overpopulation is a problem, and that's the best way to do it, is just kill half of everything.
Okay.
But before he had the Infinity Stones, he used to just go like planet to planet doing this. He'd just like show up and like slaughter half the people on the planet, and he'd just like take some of the kids as he went and like adopt them into his cause. He'd like raise them, and Gamora and Nebula are like 2 of those children.
Okay.
So they were raised as like sisters, but like they were also like put in direct competition with each other, and so like they would fight each other, and if they lost, they got punished. And Gamora was like the big sister, and she was just like constantly beating the shit out of Nebula, and then every time Nebula lost, their dad would like torture her. So that's why they don't like each other.
Yeah, he would replace a part of her with like with robotics.
Yeah, just like
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely messed up.
yeah, super messed up, super
Messed
awful.
up.
They hate each other because they're like raised as siblings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Raised as competitors.
But yeah, they spend a whole movie just like shooting each other.
Yeah. It could
Every
have
time
been a
there
couple
was line of
scenes,
sight,
but
yeah.
I got
they
some of
chose
those
to
scenes, I think. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It was just like, it was a B storyline that I just didn't have time for.
Right.
Yeah. Just to go off of what KJ was saying before, I personally, again, controversial, I personally like Nebula more as a character than Gamora, because
Fair.
Gamora had that potential to be like, you know, like she still is, like, she's still that strong character who, like, again, like, will kick anybody's ass. But she also was kind of put, and you guys were talking about this in the other episode about Hermione and how she's very capable of like taking care of herself, but she's put into these situations where like and I'm not like, I slept through all the Harry Potter movies. I am so sorry.
We're less concerned about that now that J.K. Rowling's a transphobic, horrible human being. So
but she's totally capable of taking care of herself. But she's put in these situations where like she doesn't even like catch a break. Where like she can't defend herself.
Yeah,
she's like plastered as this person who can, but she ultimately
literally just can't.
Doesn't. Yeah, and I feel like Gamora had like that same feeling because like there were multiple occasions where Peter Quill had to go.
And Peter Quill is just the dumbest of dumb boy heroes.
he's there for comic relief. I love the comical relief. I love Dave Bautista as Drax. I think Guardians is like
my favorite, like a great franchise. Honestly, we love them. They're so funny. Yeah. It's a funny franchise, but like
funny.
Moira has really strong feelings about what they do to Gamora's character.
Oh, I have so much. I'm waiting till the end so that I can talk about it.
But Nebula is, I think she had like throughout the times that she was on screen, you could see her development, and I would like to just contrast what KJ said, that I actually enjoyed them having that sisterly conflict, even though it's not the same. It's not like catfighting, like they were like genuinely trying to kill each other, but like through the course of all of that fighting, you can see that like Nebula like genuinely realized that like Gamora didn't mean to beat the crap out of her because she wanted to. It's because she had to, and she was trying to survive as well. And I love that development that she had. I think she is one of the like Wanda, she is also one of those characters that develop really well on screen. Yeah,
I think my issue with like the Gamora Nebula rivalry is like that it's being resolved in this like dumb like fight. It's the kind of fight. It's kind of like, you know, in the Avengers movie when everybody first meets and Tony and Thor try to beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
It's literally like this, except for that you guys both have like been raised together, and like really I think like their situation is kind of similar to like Nats in like the Red Room where they're all competing against each other.
Yeah.
Which I hope we learn so much more about.
Yes.
Going forward. But like I don't know, I think I was looking for more of a less like, you know, maybe this is maybe I'm gendering this and I don't need to be, but like I just feel like that's such like a male, like just violent, you know, like violence is your first defense kind of response that I wasn't into.
Fair enough.
But maybe that's just me not checking my own biases. Maybe women should be allowed to just, you know, shoot the shit out of each other just as much as the men.
I think so.
I think it's more
Valid.
that I don't want the men to be doing that either.
Just nobody should be doing
Yeah,
that.
I just,
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But it's like, if they're gonna do it, I think the women should also be able to do it
Yeah.
as well.
That is
I don't
fair,
know.
yes.
They didn't have to be like screaming at each other like every single time they were on screen
Yeah.
with each other.
No.
I think I
They
was
were,
just
like,
looking
literally
for,
screaming.
I was looking for a more diplomatic resolution to their conflict.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That is very fair. Yeah. Like, I like Nebula, but I don't feel like I know enough about her, honestly, to, like,
Okay.
actually have an opinion. I want to see more of her
Same.
eventually. So
I want to see more of Nebula, but I feel like what we've had of her is, like Lila said, been really good and well developed.
Yeah.
I
No,
do
I can appreciate what she's done so far. And the reason I like Mantis is because she, like, basically just works off of kindness. And we see a lot of these characters having to act, like, super hardened and not supposed to show empathy and stuff. And she just completely embraces it, and I respect it a lot.
Hmm.
And now I'm going to talk about Gamora.
Yeah, Moira has things to say. They fridged Gamora a little bit.
Oh my god, I'm so angry. So, like, Gamora, like, she's this amazing character that they develop, and, like, I choose to, like, move past what she's been placed in and stuff for, like, that, but, like, she works through her trauma, and she, like, does her best to, like, help people. And then in Infinity War, she goes to try and stop her abuser who abused her entire life, and he is allowed to kill her because he truly loved her, and fuck that.
It's
That is
awful.
not true. Stop
She
it.
really did have a sad ending.
I'm so angry. That is not. No, I can't.
It's upsetting,
fair.
honestly, and like it's upsetting that it's upsetting that like this is such a like basically you have to kill what you love to get the Soul Stone.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
for our I don't know how our non-MCU watching listeners have listened to this long, and
Yeah.
Faith's just here for the ride.
Yes.
But for Faith and anyone who like Faith is just here because they like us and not because they're into the MCU.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we love you more than ever for sticking
So
with
much.
us. But that's the situation, and the only two heroes that die this way are Nat and Gamora.
Yeah.
They're both sacrificed to get the Soul Stone, and like it's like these two like strong, badass women characters, and they're just like killed off for like literally no reason.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Especially since we fully believe that any combination of the previously mentioned probably could have killed Thanos on their own.
Mhm.
If we
Yeah.
just gotten them into one place at one time for 2 minutes, I think we would have been really good.
No. I hate how much they, like, portrayed that, like, an abusive person could actually love you because it's supposed
Yeah,
to
it's
accept
such a
only
bad
true
take.
love. And I'm like, no,
It is
That's
such a bad
not-
take.
not a thing. No.
That was not the first thing I thought of when seeing that. I'm only just realizing it now that you're saying it.
Yeah.
And I hope that other people in the audience had that same reaction as me because
This sucks, right?
Yeah. Like,
Oh my
what?
god. Oh, that hurts my head. That hurts my heart too. But also,
I know, I'm sorry.
just no, it's okay. No, because it's a good point. Like it's a
Yeah.
good point. I never realized it. But also, why does Gamora get to come back but not Natasha?
Right?
Right?
What? Like I get it's because she was the one who was sacrificed to get the Soul Stone that they used in that moment to revert time. But also, why didn't Banner just yeet Natasha? Like, why didn't he just take her from the first Avengers movie and just, take her?
She was right there in the lobby. You lost the damn Tesseract, but you couldn't grab Nat instead?
Like,
Apparently
literally,
not.
she would have also been very confused. But you know what? I think she would have.
She would have rolled.
She would have adopted. She
But
would
then
have figured it
there's
out.
too much to think about because then it would have ruined the fabric of time and all this other bullshit, and it's like too much to think
Well,
about. I just
Loki's
want my
running
women
around.
back. I just want my women back, but also Steve. Anyways, we're not going to get into that
Yeah,
because
no,
that
gotta
doesn't
move on.
really have anything. I could talk about that all day if I wanted to.
We're
but
gonna have
yeah.
to invite you back, honestly.
Yeah.
I enjoy. Please do. I enjoy this very much.
I love it. We have basically our other category now, which I have less to say about, but are all amazing characters. And
Yeah.
so, like, the first one in that list is Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts is my queen.
She is queen.
A literal queen. She's unfortunately often stuck in this damsel in distress stereotype until the
Yep.
last minute. I'm sorry, she's killed 2 of the 3 villains in the Iron Man trilogy,
Very true.
which is
I
more
respect
than
it.
fucking Iron Man. Honestly, I don't know why Tony is like the hero upon which the MCU is built. Iron Man's the first movies that came out in the MCU, and Pepper Potts has been here with us since day one. She killed Obadiah Stane and Aldrich Killian. She's also the CEO of Stark Industries and one of the only people that Tony actually listens to. Probably because she's literally one of the only people that talk to him like a normal, slightly disgusting human being like he is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tony is one of my favorite people in the MCU, but like Moira said, if he was a woman, he'd be like the most hated person in the MCU. He kind of sucks as a human being, but that's what we like about him.
Yeah. Exactly.
Literally, she was in Iron Man back in 2008, and then, like, in the all-female fight sequence scene in Endgame, she is front and center. She is here. I love her so much.
Love it. I adore her.
Which maybe we should also talk about while we're in the other category.
Yeah.
Pepper Potts, and I totally agree with what you just said, but I think she, like, I in my notes here, I put she adds to Tony's character development. She was
so much, yeah.
She was the key figure to a lot of Tony's character development and what actually made him develop a heart.
And like, there's a period where they literally aren't together.
Yeah.
She's like, you need to go fix your shit or else we can't be together. And they were apart for a while and he fixed his shit and they got back together.
Yep.
Exactly.
Like, she is the key to literally a lot of Tony's development, and I appreciate Pepper's character for that because I love Tony. Everyone loves Tony for his character, and I think she's had, again, like, probably the biggest role in that.
Yeah, in shaping him, like, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. No, I really enjoy her character development and seeing her on screen as someone who, like, doesn't have powers and didn't even have a suit until very recently. And, like, just actually having a character who's really smart and in this, like, role and get to see her develop as a more than two-dimensional character. I really respect that.
I wanted to maybe talk about, like, the all-female, like, endgame fight scene then that you watched. It would be in the other general one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, really quick.
Yeah, so there is a scene in Endgame where I'm not going to say all, most of the female heroes come together in one moment in the middle of a battle. Faith, you watched this scene. Did you have thoughts about it?
Well, I thought it was so cool. I like the way they just keep, like, showing up. They just, like, here's another one and this one over here and this, like, and they just keep, like, happening.
It is sad because they're literally, like, a fraction of all of the heroes in the MCU up to this point are in this scene, like, battle.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had a scene where all of them came in, everybody. And then, like, we have this, like, woman's scene, and they're literally a fraction of the men.
Yeah.
But it is amazing that it's just, like, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I thought it was so cool.
Good.
So cool to see them all together, and it was awesome. I really liked it.
Natasha should have been there.
Yes.
That is my biggest issue, I think, with this scene, is Natasha's, like, the OG, like, female Avenger, and she's not in this scene, but, like...
She doesn't get to be there.
Also, like, Spider-Man, just surrounded by women.
Oh my god, so cool! Oh my gosh, he's so cute.
Honestly, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, it's such a good scene. I have a hot take on this scene. I've shouted out this YouTube channel before, but Dylan Is in Trouble is one of my favorite, like, reaction YouTubes.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't really love this scene. And at first, everyone was really upset that he didn't love it. And then he had to make a whole separate video explaining. And he's like, "Lit, if we just had female created superhero movies from the beginning, like, we wouldn't need this scene.
Yeah.
Like, this scene is meant to feel super empowering, but it's also, like, a bit of, like, a performative allyship. Like, your company is the reason that all these females don't have movies. Like,
yeah.
I think Moira pointed out to me, Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is the second Ant-Man movie, is the first female to have her name actually in a superhero movie, like, in that, like, MCU as we know it, like, which is so late. That's a phase 3 or 4 movie.
It was 2018, 1 year before Captain Marvel came out. Wow. Iron Man 1 came out in 2008.
Yeah.
10 years.
It took 10 years of them making these superhero movies before a woman got her name in the title, and she's sharing with a man.
There was 14 solo movies other than Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy that existed before Ant-Man and the Wasp.
And it's technically an Ant-Man movie, so...
Yeah.
That's just, so, like, this scene wouldn't even be necessary if we just were keeping women in from the beginning. But since we didn't do that, I think that this is a great scene. Yeah. And I think we did need it because of the lack of attention that female characters have been played. And it's a scene I think about all the time. Yeah. it also really mirrors the scene in Infinity War, where it's like she's got help, and I'm like she's not alone. Like,
yeah,
I think they did a good job.
Not to, I have a very controversial take on this.
Yeah, take a controversial take.
Not that I didn't like the fact that, like, you know, like the female empowerment. This has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with the way that this scene was shot, because for me personally, I felt like the scene felt very out of place for what the setting of the actual fight was.
This movie has some beautiful fight scenes in it, and like this, like it is weirdly shot. I agree.
It feels really weird that all of these female characters have to come out from wherever they were previously just to join up in this one shot. Like, where did they find the time? Where, like, how are they getting here without getting attacked by?
Why aren't any of the men helping?
Like, I think this was all just like, and I love the Russo brothers. I think they did a great job directing the movie, but they dropped the ball on this.
The scene where everyone comes through the portals, the scene where the Avengers assemble is so beautifully shot, and then this, I agree. It's just like, how did we go from this to this? How did that transition happen?
Where did it come from?
Yeah, I totally think they could have had, and that probably would have been a lot more work on their part, but getting the camera to go in and weave through all the different individual battles that these women were going through, like,
and get them to one spot. If we're gonna get them all together, get them to one spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would have made more sense, but obviously, it's like that probably would have been
a lot of work. I understand why they didn't do that, but I agree. All these women drop everything they're doing and get here, and none of the men do.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It was very out of place in my opinion, and I think it could have been done better. I wish it could have been done like that, because I think that would have been such a cool, because they were doing it with, like, how they were following, here's the thing, like, I feel like there's no excuse, because they were following the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Right? When Valkyrie had it, and then, like, Peter ended up flying around with it, like, you know, like, it's just, I feel like it could have been done, and they just didn't. I feel like I wish they would have put a little bit more effort into it, because it would have been so freaking cool to see, like, the sequence where Valkyrie's kicking ass, Wasp is kicking ass with Ant-Man, like, you know, it's just, I just wish they could have done it better. But I have nothing against the Infinity War one. I love that scene. I think it's really good. But the Endgame one really threw them off the roof. Like, you know, like it really, not really ruined the mood, but it threw it off the dynamic of the whole fight. But it was still nice to see, though.
Yeah,
totally. Absolutely. So, like, the scene in Endgame, for me, where they're, like, all fighting, brings me so much joy every time I see it. Like, I see it and I want to cry, because I'm so excited that all of these women are there and present and stuff. But I'm only excited by the fact that this means that they could do more. That means they could be in more things. And this could be something that's more common. If it's just this one-off scene, then it's pointless.
Exactly.
Yeah. Without the follow through for the rest of it, it's just a random scene that they put in there to, like, say, yeah, we do have women here, but without it, like, the follow through, I don't think it's good enough. And I would like to see that more.
Yeah.
But I do love it. I love the scene so much.
Yeah, I foresee just the way that the MCU is going is so much more crossover heavy. We're having so many fewer, like, true solo films that I hope that we do have a full female superhero movie. I know it's something that a lot of the actresses are asking for.
Yeah, that would be great.
So hopefully Marvel Studios and Disney are going to follow through, and they're going to recognize that that's something that they should be doing. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, if this is a one-off thing, if this doesn't lead to something else, then it's a really token of meaningless support that we don't need.
Absolutely.
It's just to go off of that too, I guess with the nature of the way these female characters are situated in these storylines, it's really hard to give them their own solo movies, because a lot of them, like, going back to, I'm just going to touch on Wasp, Hope Van Dyke, like, she is a great character, and I, like, growing up, like, with my dad, like, I would watch the cartoons with him.
There was cartoons.
On the weekends.
Oh my god, I'm so new here.
It's really hard to, like, think of her having her own movie, because because that whole dynamic, it's supposed to be Hope and I can't, it's supposed to be Hope and Paul Rudd. Like, you know, God, it's supposed to be Wasp and Ant-Man. Like, that's how, like, that's always how it's
how it's supposed to be,
Like, Gamora and Nebula, maybe Nebula could have her own TV show. I can't see Mantis having her own movie. I can't see Gamora having her own movie. Black Widow is getting her own movie. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes
Wanda
sense.
has her own TV show. That like, you know, like, it's really hard because of the way that these characters are written. And I wish that there were more characters like that, but then I feel like still people would have a bad reception of it.
It is time. Like, I think as we're bringing more characters together, though, it does allow us to have more stuff because we can, like, be like, oh, Ant-Man's busy, but you know who's not busy? Pepper. Pepper and the Wasp can go have adventures.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know when Pepper's ever not going to be busy running Stark Industries and raising her child on her own, but
no.
I'm just saying, one day she might have some time free, and the Wasp might need some help, and Scott's too. Maybe Scott's busy with his own child.
Exactly. Like, the problem with so many, like, we're getting these amazing characters and we're seeing them in the cinematic universe, but they were created in the comic book universe. Some of them were created in, like, the 50s and 60s when female representation was just, like, they're in a secondary role. And I think if we want to, like, detach characters and have them in their own things, they're gonna have to be altered, or new characters, like, have to be new created, characters that have to be created that haven't been purposely embedded as secondary characters in these comic books that were created 50 years ago or 30 years ago.
I think there's great hope for characters like Wanda. Now, obviously, LILA hasn't finished WandaVision yet, but I think based on how the series ends, I think Monica has a lot of potential.
Yes.
I'd like to see more Darcy. I'd like to see Darcy more.
Me too.
Literally.
Darcy and Jimmy Woo need their own show.
Yes.
Yep, I agree. I was literally like, I was watching the last episode of WandaVision today, and I was like, where the fuck's Darcy been? It's been 2 weeks since we saw Darcy. Where is she? And like literally 5 minutes later, she had the best character entrance of the series. And I was like, oh damn, she's back.
I'm very excited to watch this season finale, or this I don't know.
Finale.
It sucks that it's a series finale.
I know.
I'm very excited though.
I assume that it's gonna be Doctor Strange, that she's gonna be back in Wanda, right? Am I wrong?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
It feels,
unless we see them
feels
before.
right.
Okay. So I think that wherever Wanda's definitely gonna pop up next. Like, this isn't over.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Also, there was a mid and post credit scene this week, and that made me really happy. I was like, oh, we're full MCU now. One post credit scene wasn't enough.
Oh my god, I didn't watch the last one.
You saw what?
I
It was important. It was
I
really
watched the mid-credit one, but I didn't.
It was really important. It was really important. You have to go back.
I will do that right after. Okay.
So we decided that this episode needed to be split into two because we had a lot more to say about Marvel. So we will be putting up a part 2 of this episode in 2 weeks. So next week we'll be having our episode extravaganza to celebrate 25 episodes. But then in episode 26 we'll be back to talk about Marvel with Lila some more.
That is our episode for this week. You've been listening to the Series of Opinions podcast. Let us know what you thought about this week's episode. Like, leave us a review. That would really help. Or get in contact with us on social media. Our email is seriesofopinionspod@gmail.com. We are at Series of Opinions Pod on Tumblr and Instagram, and at Series of Opinion with no S on Twitter. Next week, we are going to have our 25th episode, so our episode extravaganza. You can find me at Moira_Frisk on everything.
You can find me at Miss Faith and across everything, and at Faith and Art for all of my art. And thank you, Lila, so much for being on. You did an amazing job.
Lila, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at LilBAJ Studios, and you can find my Redbubble at LilBAJ.
Amazing.
Incredible.
Oh, amazing. You can find me at Life Messes with KJ on all things. And seriously, if you don't think that Captain Marvel or Captain America or Wanda or any combination of those two, or like Thor, could have defeated Thanos without a single Infinity Stone, come for me. Honestly. Fight me. Through the internet, because it's not safe to fight in person.
Exactly.
incredible.
Thank you to Faith Ebert for our logo. This episode was written, produced, and recorded by us. It was edited by me, editing KJ. We were so excited to have our guest Lila this week. We will be back next week.
Oh, bye.
Bye.
Bye.